Hey team, how's it going? Welcome to the channel, That Logic Pro Guy. My name's Eddie Gray, and here we talk about all things Logic Pro. In this video, I want to talk about how to identify the tempo or the BPM of a sample. So let's say you just bought something from sounds.com, Splice, any one of those vendors. You don't know how to line this up, and this is going to be the video for you. Now, let's just do a little bit of a backstory here. If you use the Apple Loop library in Logic, everything is cush, right? You simply just drag in these files, and no matter how you change the BPM at any instant, everything is just going to work. Now, a lot of this has to do with the settings in Logic Pro. If I hit Option P, you can see under the Smart Tempo category that we have these settings that will alter the behavior of Logic. Now, right now, everything's off. Unless I turn something on, we will get some haphazard behavior. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in a file. I'll hit Shift-Command-I in order to import something in. And I'm going to go to a session I did some time ago. And you can see that we have two types of file types. One of them's called .caf and the other one's called a .wav file. Depending on the kind of file that you drag in, those files are going to have integrated metadata that will help with this process. So a .caf file will just conform no matter what the tempo is. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring this in, and you can see it just adapts. If I shift this over to 180 beats per minute, these files are adaptable, they're malleable. Take a listen. The BPM right now is 180, and I can assure you that's not the BPM that I started with initially when I recorded this. But let's go ahead and try that again. This time I'll hit Shift-Command-I. I won't choose a .caf file. I'll choose a .wav file, and let's see what happens. Okay, completely different scenario. Let's take a listen. Alright, so that's the first thing to look at. Something that I would consider if you do drag in the wrong file type, and by wrong I just mean what you currently have. But I would hit the key Command E, and I would go into Smart Tempo. If you don't have this available to you, there's a little Analyze button which you're going to find down here somewhere. You simply click on that. Logic is going to perform an analytical process where it looks at all the various flex markers and transient markers. And so look, we have some real world data. It's saying, hey, this by its very nature is at 130. So if I double click up here, the LCD screen, and I play back, this should work out nicely. Okay, but that's not it. There's a lot more to uncover here. So let me go ahead and start from scratch. So we're starting over, brand new audio track. Let me just shift this over to 90 BPM. And this time I'm going to change the behavior of Logic Pro. Rather than keeping files to the same tempo, we're going to say, hey, I want you to adapt. I want you to give me some information in real time. And again, that can be changed there, or you can go back into the project settings and change it here. So I'll then hit Shift-Command-I, and let's take something from the same session. So remember, 90 BPM up there. We're going to import this in. You can also just drag this in, but this is how I'm doing it now. And look at that. Logic analyzed the file, and it figured out, oh, this particular loop is at 130. Let's see if this is true. I'll hit K, turn on the metronome. Let's go. Cool. So this has a little bit of swing to it, so it's not a perfect 130. If this ever happens to you, you're going to want to go back to keep tempo so that you can basically return to the normal way of operating. And then you want to hit the key Command D, go into this tempo list, delete everything, and then just fixate on whatever the number is, 130, 131. I don't like to have variable tempos unless I have a song that's played in rubato or in freeform. I think this is really the way to go. So that's two ways of approaching this, but now I want to show you my favorite way of doing this. So again, remember, if you're using .caf files, everything is just going to be really simple. But what if you're using something different? What if you're using a .wav file? I'm going to drag these in from outside of the session. You can see that I'm at 120 here. I don't know, why don't I take this to 60 beats per minute? And this time I'm going to hit control arrow key and I'll just simply drag this in. So control left. All right. So we'll drag it in here. And this is probably my favorite way of figuring out the BPM or just getting things to work essentially. So I'll press play here and you can see this is clearly not working. And now, so long as I have the snap to grid system set, meaning I turn it on, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the length of this. I'll click on this audio region and I use one of my favorite features in Logic Pro called time stretch region length to the nearest bar. Key command option command B. So I set a perfect loop. I hit option command B. This is going to do some voodoo magic in the background. And let's check out playback. Here we go. So I hope you enjoyed this installment. Again, make sure you subscribe. I have a ton of great ideas. In fact, I've always got ideas in my brain and just working on getting the time to fulfill on them. I've got courses coming out on control surfaces soon and all sorts of great stuff. If you want to learn more about my mission and what it is I'm doing, go ahead and check out the link in the description below. I'm going to get out of here. This is That Logic Pro Guy. I'll see you next time. Cheers.